Moments of inspiration mixed with time to network, IBJ Media Events has you covered. From industry deep dives to awards celebrating Indiana's top leaders, see what's coming up and reserve your seat at ibj.com/RSVP.
This is Inside Indiana Business Radio for the afternoon of Friday, November 21st, 2025. I'm Alex Brown. A winery, brewery, and event center in Seymour is up for sale, though details surrounding the move remain scarce. Chateau de Pique Winery is set to be auctioned off next month, according to Pendleton-based Don Smock Auction Company, which is facilitating the auction. A spokesperson for the auction company said the decision to sell the winery is the result of a dissolution of a partnership, but noted that Chateau de Pique's ownership is not providing public comment on the sale. The auction company is anticipating the property could sell for $1 to $2 million based on interest so far. Indianapolis-based Eli Lilly and Co, the world's largest drug maker, just notched another milestone. It's the first healthcare company to cross the $1 trillion threshold as investors bet big on the drug maker's weight loss medicines. Shares of Lilly rose as much as 1.8% on Friday, pushing its market value to about $1 trillion, according to data compiled by Bloomberg. South Bend-based First Source Bank has promoted 2 senior leaders as part of recent succession changes at the bank and its parent company, First Source Corporation. John Bedient has been named Chief Operating Officer and Executive Vice President, while Dan Lifforth has been promoted to Chief Administrative Officer and Senior Vice President. From the number one source for Indiana business news, this is Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Thanks for listening to this IBJ Media podcast. You're probably going to remember this ad. Do you know why? Podcast advertising works. 85% of listeners recalled hearing an ad during a podcast, and 70% of podcast listeners have acted after hearing an ad. So whether you're looking to be heard across the entire IBJ Media Podcast Network, sponsor one of our shows, or just start with a 30-second ad, IBJ Media can help. Contact advertise at ibj.com to learn more.
Like people in many communities around the state, White County residents over the past few months have packed public meetings in opposition to data centers. Here's Gary Dick.
When a developer was considering a project in the area, locals spoke out against the proposal, expressing concerns about water availability and the transparency of the process. That project won't be moving forward, nor will any other, as the White County Board of Commissioners on October 20th passed a moratorium on data center development. The concept of a moratorium on development that residents see as undesirable isn't new. Close to 80% of all Indiana counties have paused wind or solar project development. But White County is one of only 3, along with Marshall and Putnam counties, to press pause on data centers specifically. The potential conflict between the state's data infrastructure goals and local reluctance to house data centers is the newest chapter in the debate between municipalities and the State House about home rule matters. In part due to moratoriums on solar and wind projects, legislators have tried in recent sessions to strip locals of some control around energy projects, but such efforts have met steep resistance. State Senator Eric Cook of Bedford authored a bill this year that allows power plants to bypass local zoning laws if they are built on land where a current energy generating facility or a former mine sits. The bill passed, but the law does not apply to wind or solar projects. This is Gary Dick for Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Michigan City's plan for a new mixed-use, mixed-income development is moving forward after the city's redevelopment commission approved a term sheet for the estimated $20 million project. Project Wabash, proposed for the intersection of 7th and Wabash Streets, calls for a 5-story building with 45 to 60 apartments and commercial space for 3 tenants, including an anchor restaurant. Julian Walters, president of Wisconsin-based Eminent Development Corporation, said the next steps in the project include finalizing a developer agreement with the city, advancing the final design concept, and initiating the required approval process. Construction is expected to begin in spring 2026 and take 12 to 14 months to complete, with initial move-ins planned for summer 2027. A Greensburg-based manufacturer of freeze-dried dog and cat food and other pet treats is investing $50 million to build a new production facility in Decatur County and add 50 jobs. Shepherd Boy Farms CEO Ashton Hood said the 100,000-square-foot plant will expand the company's production capacity and co-manufacturing capabilities to meet growing demand.
Since we're kind of starting from scratch at the new one, we've learned so much. We can fix so many different things. but it gives us more capabilities. It's going to allow us to make more unique products, more shapes, more consistencies, more options, instead of just being, kind of the same as what everyone else is in the freeze-dried aspect of what we can produce, like meats, single source, varieties like that we do now. It'll give us so much more capabilities.
Hood said the new facility, combined with the company's current 75,000 square foot location, will allow for the production of more than 20 million pounds of freeze-dried pet food annually. Lake City Bank's CEO David Finley is this week's guest on the Business and Beyond podcast with Gary Dick, presented by PNC, a weekly conversation with high-profile Hoosiers in business, sports, and entertainment, and beyond. Available now on the IBJ Media app or your favorite podcast provider. I'm Alex Brown for Inside Indiana Business Radio on Demand.
Off the Record with Indiana's 250 most influential business and community leaders is a podcast that peels back the curtain on Indiana's most respected leaders, one episode at a time. Go beyond the headlines and hear the stories of grit and innovation that shape these leaders. Do you want to know who's driving our state forward? This is a must listen. Subscribe and listen wherever you get your podcasts or at ibjpodcast.com.
Want to give your team a real edge? The IBJ Group Plan delivers unlimited access to every story, every report, every video from IBJ and Inside Indiana Business for your whole team. Cover some or all of your employees with one simple payment. The more you add, the more you save. It's smart, it's flexible, and it saves you up to 30% off the standard rate. Already have IBJ subscribers in your office? Group up and save big. Learn more and get started now at ibj.com/group-plan.